Okay, attempting ISO 15 out of 20. First thing that we want to do, just like every time, get an idea for what the dimensions of it are. It's on an isometric grid, so we're going to get the width, depth, and height of the object first. So count the squares up in the width. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 units wide. Looking at the curved edge and the not curved edge, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units high. So I'll just put 7 up here and put some dashed lines so that we can get an idea for how high this is going to be. 7 units high. Alright, let's get an idea for what's going on here. There looks like a little weird shape up at the top. The base on the bottom can be done easily with some fillets and drilling some holes. That top shape looks like we might need a little bit of trickery to do. Let's see here. You could extrude out a shape that goes up like this, but what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to just make a really big block on the back side, and then I'm going to take that really big block and I'm just going to cut it out. So I can just make a L shape like this. It's going to go all the way, oops, I went too far. It's going to go all the way here, and then we'll just make that sketch and we'll cut away all of that stuff. That's the general idea. And we'll see what happens and whether or not it works or not. So here we go. Let's go into OnShape. We're going to be making a 10 by 6 base, and we're going to call this ISO number 15. So create a document, we're going to call it 20 ISOs 15, number 15. And we're going to make our base first. So we're going to start with a sketch, go to the top view, and we're going to make a 10 by 6. 10 by 6. So let's go to a corner rectangle. We're going to make 10 wide, 6 deep. 10 wide, enter, 6, enter. Okay, we're going to go click the green check mark and make an isometric view. Looks reasonable. I think this first part is only 1 square high, so we're going to extrude, and we're only going to extrude up 1 unit. So click the green check mark and you're good to go. For the second part, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make a rectangle that is 2 units thick all the way across, and then we're going to make a sketch to cut out what we need to cut out. So I'm going to make a sketch on the top, and then I'm going to use a 2-point rectangle and click anywhere. We're going to make it 10 units wide and only 2 units thick. Then click the green check mark, and let's find out how high this needs to go. The first one was only 1 unit thick, but the rest of it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units thick. Or sorry, 6 units high. So we're going to use a extrude command, and we're going to extrude up 6 units to give us a rather large block to work with. That's okay, we're going to be cutting it down. So click the green check mark to go ahead and get it done. The first thing that we can go ahead and do is, looking back at this part over here doesn't really need to be sketched. This part right here can be used as a fillet, and we know that it's a fillet with a radius of 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to create using the fillet command, I'm going to make the radius 2 inches, and then I'm going to click on this edge and get our first part of the fillet out of the way. Green check mark, and we are good to go. Alright, now for the rest of this shape, what we're going to need to do is we're going to make a sketch, and we're going to use that to cut out the rest of the shape that we don't want. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start a sketch, and we're going to click on this flat surface on the front. Then we're going to click the front view so that we can get a good idea of what's going on. And from here, we may have to start looking at things a little bit differently. This first part down here, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 6 by 6 square. So let's go ahead and cut out that 6 by 6 square. Let's make a rectangle. We can start at this bottom edge down here, and we're going to go up, make it 6 units by 6 units. 6 enter, 6 enter, and then let's see here. We don't want to hit the green check mark yet because we're not quite finished. There's another way to use a fillet. Instead of having to fillet a solid object, we can also use this command over here to make a sketch fillet, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a sketch fillet. When you click on this button and it's highlighted blue, you can click on two edges of a shape and it will create a fillet. Notice that the radius says 0.25. We want to make that a lot bigger. The radius is going to be a radius of 2. So if we click on that R for radius, and double click it, and change that to a 2, you should get a fillet that moves in a nice sweeping motion across. If we look back over here, that fillet has a radius of 2 going out like this. So when we cut it, it's going to just leave out this spot. It's going to leave this spot behind, and it's going to take away everything else. Okay, now I think we've got everything that we need. Go ahead and click the green check mark, find an isometric view, and see how this whole region highlights. We're going to click extrude, and we're going to click on this region, and make sure you select remove, and drag that arrow out to cut all of it away. Okay, click the green check mark. This part over here still looks sharp, but that's okay. Now that we've got that out of the way, if we can use the fillet command again, I guess I could have done both of them at the same time. Hindsight is better. Anyway, fillet of 2, and hit the green check mark, and we can cut this away. And then the only thing that we have to worry about, looks like I did not do it. Here we go. I'll try it again. 2, click the edge. There we go. And then click the green check mark. Down here we need to add a couple more fillets because on the sketch there is a fillet on the front side, and that fillet has a radius of 1, and the fillet on the other side also has a radius of 1. So I'm going to fillet both of these with a radius of 1, and then we can just make some circles for our holes and we'll be good to go. Alright, so down at the bottom we're going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to create the click fillet. Make sure you set the radius to 1, and then click the edge, and then click on the other edge, and then click the green check mark. Okay, now we need to worry now about where these holes are going to be. It looks like the holes are, let's see here. I may have lied to you. Now that I'm looking at that a little bit more, I think these fillets are not at 1. I think these fillets are at 1.5. Let's go back and change that. So if you need to change something, go over and look in the model screen over on the left side. This gives you an idea of everything that you've done so far. Here's the fillet where I messed up. I didn't even need that. I can just press delete there. And see how this fillet on this section has both of these highlighted? I can right click on this and I can click the edit button, and I can go back in here and change the number. So I can change this radius of 1 to have a radius of 1.5 and then hit enter, and they'll move in a little bit more. That makes a little bit more sense to me because these lines right here is where it starts to curve here, and the same thing happens on the other side. So, and the holes are also located at the end of the fillet, which from an engineering standpoint, if you're making a fastener or something like that, that makes a lot of sense too. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to make our holes. The first hole is going to line up right with the fillet, and this hole will as well. The other one is let's see here, 1, 2, 3 units away, I believe. I'm going to count that up again just to make sure because it's going by halves. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it's going to be 3 inches away. So we're going to make a line to line ourselves up and make sure that we're not just clicking randomly out in the middle of the plate. You want your holes to be able to line up. So let's go ahead and start a sketch. Click on the top part of the surface and then click on the top. We're going to make a circle, and using the edges of the fillet, just go ahead and move that line up until it snaps into place and create a hole with a diameter of 1. I'm going to go back and double check and make sure that I actually did that correctly. It looks like our hole is 1 square in diameter, so yeah, I believe we're correct here. Then we're going to go over to the other side, click the circle button, and move, make sure that your circle can, there we go, now I got my circle. Click on the, or move your mouse down to this spot and then move the mouse up. Don't click until it snaps into place. Click then, and then move the circle out and change that radius to 1 as well. Okay, for the third hole, we know that the third hole is 3 units away, so I'm going to click on the center button, and I'm going to make sure that it lines up vertically. I'm going to type 3, make sure that that's 3 units away. Then we're going to click the circle button, and we're going to make one more circle with a diameter of 1, and then we're going to finish our sketch. You could cut this line out if you want to. It's not necessary anymore, but I think if you leave it in there, it's not going to hurt anything. Watch when we extrude. We're going to click the extrude button. Make sure you select remove and click on the 3 circles that you want to remove to create your holes, and then click and drag. Make sure you click and drag so that it goes all the way through, and then click the green check mark and you are good to go. Let's double check, and there's 1, 2, 3 holes. Let's check and see how it looks compared to the sketch. Looks like I'm missing something. I think I might have lied to you about the good to go part. We are missing this hole up in the middle. So that's why it always pays to double check and make sure that you've done everything that you need to do. We can just make a simple circle and drill it out. We should be good to go. Let's kind of zoom in here. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to click on this surface. I don't think it's going to be necessary to switch to a front view, but you can if you want to. Create the center point circle by clicking on that button. You can go to the top and then drag the mouse down until it snaps into place. And we're going to create a circle with a diameter of 2 this time. Let me double check and make sure that that's right. 1, 2, yep, diameter of 2. Then we're going to extrude, so finish your sketch, and then click extrude, click the circle, and remove, and drag that circle through. You should have a hole that goes all the way through it now. Checking with the sketch that we have, it looks like we have everything there now, so I can now safely say this is ISO number 15.